Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our video discussion for the functions of communication in Oral Communication, Module 4. People do not just only communicate because people love to talk. Humans communicate for several reasons, and it includes the regulation and control, social interaction, motivation, information, and of course, emotional expressions. When people speak, we always have a goal in mind, and these goals can vary depending on the communicative situation. These goals may be any of the following general purposes when we are communicating. We communicate because we wanted to inform. We communicate because we want to persuade. And of course, we want to entertain. To talk about these lessons, we'll start this with lesson 1, which is information dissemination. The fundamental need for a person to adapt and to adjust his environment is information. Therefore, it is very important for us to be informed. Communication can be used for giving and getting information. So, when we give or get information, it is because we want to state facts. We get information because we want to ask questions. Moving forward, giving information includes the uses of statement or using of statements. And this is when you say, I have 3 brothers. And with that, you are using a statement to give information to your audiences. Another thing, we give information when we use a rhetorical question. So this means that at the moment that you are asking, you are also giving information. Next is when we get information using questions. So an example is shown in your screens. Also, we get information using imperatives. It is also asking a simple request from a person or your audience when you are telling something. Also, we get information using declaratives. You are declaring an information, then at the same time, you are getting something from that information then. Moving forward, we will talk about the importance of communication. Communication as information enables humans to get to know the world and process and structure what they learn about. So when we have information then, it enables us to know the things about us. It enables us to know the important concepts that is happening around us then. So here, we will learn about the 3 flows of information. First is the downward flow of information. This is where the information comes from the top position. Example is the manager, then move forwarded to the general manager, to the assistant general manager, to the head of the departments, then to the supervisors, then to the employees or workers. This is an example of a downward flow of communication. Moving forward, we also have this. We have 3 flows of information, which is the upward flow. Upward flow is totally the opposite of the downward flow. Now, the communication happens for the employees or workers moving forward to the managing directors then. Lastly, we have the horizontal flow. This is where communication happens from a worker to a worker, or husband to wife, a sibling to a sibling, manager to manager. This is in the form of data and reports. Also, horizontal flow can be known as peer-to-peer communication. Now, let's move forward with lesson 2, which is about motivation. What is motivation? Do we really need to learn this one? Of course, right? So, motivation is a function which refers to the person using language to express desires, needs, wants, likes, and dislikes. This also includes inclinations, your choices, and your aspirations in life. Without motivation, it will be difficult for us to reach our goals, to reach our targets. So, as people in the future, when we are working or when you have your own businesses, it is very much important to use motivation, which is a very important way in communicating. Then, in corporate settings or in businesses, motivation is important because of the following benefits it provides. It puts human resources into action. When people are very motivated, they want to work more. When people are motivated, it improves the level of efficiency of their employees. Employees wanted to work more correctly because they are motivated. Next, it leads to the achievement of organizational goals. When your people are motivated, they will be achieving your goal as a company or as an institution. Next is it builds friendly relationships among the employees of your company. Next is it leads to the stability of workforce. People wants to work more and to stay more in a company when they are motivated. Next is communication to control human behavior. We communicate because we want to control our behavior, your behavior, and the behavior of the people around you. It matters in the process of communication. This is to exercise restraint, stopping, or directing formally or informally. This includes rules, the regulations, and policies in different establishments or businesses. These are called formal. Also, we have the home rules and agreements, which are also part of the formal rules. Unspoken or unwritten rules are also called as informal. When we say unspoken, an example is when somebody is still eating, you need not to keep the plates in your dining table. Also, when somebody is still talking, you need not to talk. And it is an unspoken or unwritten rule. So I hope you got that. Next is we have the language forms for regulation or control. We have these forms of commands, which are also known as imperatives. So commands, these are orders or these are requests then. Also, we have questions that influence human behavior. These are when you ask questions and then you are actually controlling them or you are regulating a certain command. Moving forward, we have declaratives. You control and you regulate by using declarative sentences then. Next is, we have the importance of regulation and control. Why do we control someone? Why is it important? Does it even matter? Now, the sense of control over our lives and the world around us, else we feel powerless. When we do not know how to control our emotions, when we do not know how to control our own actions, we will not become effective beings. Communication is also a means to regulate control, human behavior, which also ranges from simple request when you are still young, you are requesting something, to laws governing large countries and territories. So, meaning to say, when you know how to control yourself or to regulate others when you are still young, you will bring that value when you will be older. And also, it is important for us to regulate other people so that we'll know how to get along with them. We'll know how to socialize with them, and we know how to put ourselves in the right places then. Next is it is a powerful function of language. So communication is important because it is somehow gives us the function of using words or languages in controlling ourselves and the other people around us. Communication can also function as a way to express our emotion. Of course, we communicate because we wanted to express what we feel. We wanted to express if we are sad, we wanted to express our happiness or our anxiety. Now, imagine if you cannot express yourselves. It will be very, very difficult for us to do. Now, in this function, it is important to note that nonverbal cues are usually louder than verbal expressions. The use of facial expressions, gestures, and body stance are very, very distinct or different from each other then. Meaning to say, your gestures and your body stances and your facial expressions means a lot to your audiences. Moving forward, this is lesson 3, which is social interaction. What is social interaction? It is a communication between two or more individuals. This is the kind of interaction these individuals will have to depend on time, place as well, and their role or relationship with one another. As human beings, it is very important for us to socialize and to interact with other human beings. So it is also important for us to consider the roles of relationship between the people we interact with. So respect comes a long way, and the manner of speaking to other people comes very handy or important in this type of skill. Moving forward, we have this definition also. Communication facilitates social closeness, which is to establish, to maintain, and to enjoy relationship with others. When we know how to communicate, we will be understood by the people around us. We will be understood by our friends. Now, on the other hand, if you do not know how to communicate, your friends may tell you that they do not understand you, and that will be an important factor then in social interactions. Communication also fulfills our ego's needs. Of course, as human beings, we need to get along with others. We need to belong with a circle of friends. We need to boost our self-esteem, and with that, we need to interact with others. But of course, there are some people who doesn't want to interact because they might be shy or they are not that confident in communicating to other people, wherein they need to develop that one. And also, it is also our social needs, the need for us to be belong and to be accepted by our community, by our peers then, especially by our significant others. So moving forward, according to Moffat, social interaction is categorized into 5. First is the exchange. We communicate because we wanted to exchange something. It can be money, it can be objects or non-material things like thank you. I communicate to him, I socially interact to him or her because you wanted to exchange feelings, you wanted to exchange something then, or it can be objects or anything that you wanted to exchange with each other. Next is you wanted to socially interact because you wanted to have a competition. How can you have a competition if you are not talking to that person? There can be times that it can be possible. However, in our scenario or in our setting, communication is very important, either verbal or non-verbal, when we compete with other people. Next is cooperation. This is a social process in which people work together to realize their common goals. How can you cooperate with other people if you are not talking to them, if you are not communicating with them? So, in communication, cooperation needs to be done so that we can achieve our common goals. Next is conflict. This refers to the strong disagreement. You do not agree with something between people or groups and so on, which results in often angry argument. So how can you solve an argument if you do not know how to communicate? How can you resolve things if you do not know how to communicate? So we are interacting because we wanted to resolve a conflict then. Lastly, we have coercion. This is the process of getting something or making someone else to do something by using threats. This is not a good trait, however, it also happens in communication. We coerce with other people for us, for our goals to become materialized. And that will be the end of our discussion for Module 4. Thank you so much for watching this video. Good day.